Mystical Faith Collective, welcome back. I know it's been a while, and nobody could be more excited than me that I'm starting to feel back into channeling and all of the things that I share here on this channel. But it's taken some time to reground and reorient myself after the great adventure that I had over in Scotland and Ireland. And they don't call it a trip for nothing, okay? Because let me just say, I'm letting him have his place in here. He's here for a very specific reason, as always. There's nothing more psychedelic than being absolutely sober, but also having to see yourself very clearly. Have a mirror put up in front of your face. And oftentimes, while we travel, at least for me, it's not just an adventure of discovery of the external. It often becomes an adventure and an exploration of the internal, especially things, and I'm just gonna show you where there he is. Yeah, he's right there. He's just chilling. He likes to support and ground in the messages, so I just want to honor that and acknowledge that he's a very important part of this process. That being said, so my experience with traveling is that while I have this tremendous external experience, there is this internal unfolding and discovery that is often quite unnerving and unexpected, because it's reaching into places that maybe you weren't aware of, because, and for me, I'm speaking for me, being in my comfort zone, it's almost easier to ignore certain things. So I had a wild internal adventure coinciding with the scenic external adventure that I was able to have the privilege of experiencing. And I'm tremendously grateful for that opportunity. Needless to say, I had these expectations, and I think human expectations, I'm hearing from Spirit that human expectations are a pretty important topic, because they often don't coincide very well with our actual intuitive guidance and the actual messages that we're getting from Spirit and higher realms. And so it's important to distinguish and discern the difference between human expectations and, the intuitive messages that we're getting and we're receiving. And I think that, that's a skill set and a process. But going back to my own expectations, I had this expectation that I would get over to Ireland and Scotland, and the inspiration for mystical fairy coaching would be firing all the time, and it's not that there weren't moments of that, and it's not that I didn't capture beautiful moments with the land, and it's not that I didn't connect with the land, but due to a multitude of things that I couldn't control, it was very difficult for me to drop in and tap in the way that I'm able to do now that I'm home at my altar with my familiar in my cozy hoodie. And I don't think I was being super realistic about that fact, and that's okay. That was the learning. That was one of the learning points. There were several, and I'm going to be covering them over time. That was the learning. And also, one of the things I heard very loud and clear from Spirit is that when you're a creative, and I really truly believe everyone's a creative, I just think that some of us actually choose to identify by that term, when really every human being is a creative. They've often just been conditioned by society to think that they're not creative, but whole other video. But when you are a creative, I think that the message is often that, creative blocks are our enemy, or something to be overcome, or something to be feared, or something to be pushed against, right? But what I'm hearing from Spirit is that creative blocks are like hidden treasure. There's something often hidden within what we perceive to be a creative block that needs our attention, that needs our exploration, that needs us to open up some part of ourselves or acknowledge a part that's just waiting for us. And so one of the things I'm hearing from Spirit, one of the lessons from my adventure that I'm supposed to convey to Mystical Fairy Coaching Collective, is that don't perceive creative block necessarily as bad. Don't assign judgment. Get curious. What's in there? What part of what I'm perceiving to be a resistance or creative block requires my attention, holding, embracing even, welcoming, inviting, all of these things. Yeah, taking a new perspective around creative blocks. Huge takeaway, okay, from the adventure. But there's more. And what I'm hearing from Spirit is that many of the lessons that I've gleaned from my experience in Ireland and Scotland are going to consecutively download over the course of the coming months and weeks. And I'm going to be able to translate them into something useful for the collective. So that's what I'm doing. I'm here, I'm integrating so that I can have so many new channels for you that my hope is will be useful and nourishing and healing and all the things, because that is my mission here, is to convey this type of information that soothes, nurtures, nourishes. Sometimes it's going to disrupt, not going to lie. Sometimes we got our feisty, fairy, disruptive moments, but only for your highest good. So please keep coming back and visiting because, like I said, I know there's been a long pause. Thank you for your patience, but there is so much more to come. So much deep love and respect for the collective. And I'm looking forward to sharing so much more with you. Mwah. Thank you for being here. It means everything to me.